Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, today we're putting on our detective hats because we are going to solve a mystery that your Chevrolet might be sending you. We're talking about the error code B132507. So let's get right into the investigation. You know that feeling, right? A light flashes on your dashboard, and your first thought is probably, oh no, what now? But what if I told you it's not just a problem? What if it's actually a puzzle? That is exactly how we're going to treat this code today. Not as some big scary fault, but as a clue your car is giving you. So first things first, in any good investigation, we have to understand the evidence. What does this clue, this code B132507, actually mean? Let's decode it. Okay, in plain English, what this means is that your car's computer is constantly watching the electrical system. It expects the voltage to stay in a nice, normal, happy range. This specific code, B132507, is the computer basically screaming, whoa, the voltage is spiked above the normal limit. Yeah, the definition sounds super technical, I know. But really, you can just think of it as your car's electrical system sending out an SOS. It's a signal that something is out of whack, and our job is to figure out exactly what that is. All right, now that we understand the clue, it's time to do some real detective work. We're going to line up the main suspects, and based on what we know, there are 4 primary culprits that could be causing this electrical SOS. So 2 of our biggest suspects here are actually polar opposites. On one hand, you can have a low voltage issue, we're talking under 9 volts, and that almost always points to a dying or defective battery. But, and this is the important part, our code, B132507, means the voltage is above the threshold. So our number 1 suspect is the exact opposite problem, high voltage. When the system spikes up over 18 volts, the real culprit is usually a bad alternator that's just overcharging the whole system. Now, beyond the battery and the alternator, we have a couple of other key suspects to look at. Suspect number 3 is pretty straightforward, a mechanical failure. This just means a physical part like a sensor or maybe a control module has simply broken. And then there's suspect number 4, which is a bit broader, an electrical system malfunction. This points to the pathways themselves, the wiring, the connections, anything that carries the current. We've identified our main suspects. Now it's time for the best part, cracking the case wide open by matching each one of these causes to its specific solution. This chart gives us a really clear action plan. Since we're dealing with a high voltage code, if your tests confirm a spike over 18 volts, well, the solution is pretty clear. Replace that defective alternator. If the trail leads to a mechanical failure instead, you just have to identify which part is broken and swap it out. And for that general electrical malfunction, it's time to roll up your sleeves and check all the wiring and all the connections. And for that 4th suspect, the electrical malfunction, this quote is basically the golden rule. You have to check all the links in wiring to identify any problems. Seriously, think about it. A single frayed wire that's touching the engine block, or a loose battery terminal that's all corroded. These little things can cause huge headaches and mimic much bigger problems. A really thorough visual inspection is always your best first move. So, we've found the cause, we know the solution, case closed, right? Well, almost. The final and maybe most important step in any good investigation is prevention. How do we make sure this case doesn't get reopened down the road? The good news is, prevention is incredibly simple. It's a 2-step plan, that's it. First, just perform regular maintenance on your electrical system. This means getting your battery and alternator tested when you go in for normal service. And second, make it a habit to just pop the hood and check that your wiring looks secure and that your battery connections are clean and tight. Honestly, taking these small proactive steps will keep your car's electrical system healthy and happy. And that means you can avoid the hassle, the worry, and hey, the potential expense of this error code ever popping up again. So there you have it. You've gone from a confusing, cryptic code on your dashboard to a clear, confident action plan. You basically just turned a warning light into a solved case. With that under your belt, the only question left is, what mystery are you going to tackle next?